What's up, friends and fellow card collectors? Card Hobbies here, and I got a couple of contest responses for you. I guess you can call it a double header of contest responses. First contest I want to do is for the Essential Credentials. I'll have a link to their channel. Actually, I have a link to their contest video in the description below. What they're asking for is a response saying, what was your favorite base set of the 90s? As well as, what was your favorite Essential Credentials episode? Now, my favorite Essential Credentials episode was the one that touched on the rarity of 90s cards, like especially like inserts, like how rare they were. Because I always found that like super interesting when you think about like how rare certain cards are. When you think about cards that are unnumbered, or even cards that are numbered, and you do not know the total print run, you really don't know the rarity of that card. So when you're putting something in perspective of print runs, especially 90s era print runs, those things can be pretty rare. I mean, you think about stuff like Donruss Elite, how rare it is to pull a Donruss Elite card. I think they started putting them in 91 Donruss. Don't quote me on that. Let me know in the description or in the comments if you know what year Donruss started seeding elites into packs. But I think those were serial numbered to 10,000, 20,000. I don't remember, but there was so many base sets printed that it made those inserts just almost impossible. They were like a unicorn. I'd never even seen one pulled, or actually, I think I've only seen one in person in my whole life. So super rare. I love the episode on 90s inserts and rarity. Now, as far as my favorite base design of the 90s, I wasn't collecting for the majority of the 90s. My collecting when I was younger was a very, very short window. I started collecting cards in 1991, and then I was done collecting cards by 1994. Pretty much the start of 94, I was pretty much out of collecting sports cards. So that's only 3 years there, and it wasn't even a full 3 years because I started the summer in 91, and it was kind of right at the beginning in 94. So not even 3 years of collecting when I was a kid. But from what I remember when I was collecting, this design was always my favorite, and still to this day remains one of my favorite sets of all time. And that is 93 Flair. Hopefully I get my camera to focus on it. There we go. Here's a Dante Bichette from 93 Flair. These cards just blew my mind when I was a kid. I thought I was holding something that was like a work of art whenever my friend first showed me these as a kid. 93 Flair, I'd never seen anything like this when it came out. Now, Stadium Club was like, the new hotness in 91 with its super glossy cards and its great photography and all that. But this design right here with the double photo just really blew my mind. These are high quality cards. The boxes they came in were amazing. Like, it felt like, something only the super elite would be able to get. As a kid, I couldn't afford 93 Flair. They were well out of my price range as a kid. And my parents were going to buy these for me. I can't remember what the price was, but I know it was more than I can afford to buy a pack of 93 Flair. But by far, a set that's way ahead of its time. This may remind you of Topps Gold Label, but Topps Gold Label came out well after this. 93 Flair was really something. They had more Flair issues. I don't know how long they went in the 90s. I'm sure the Essential Credentials podcast will know how long Flair ran in the 90s. But none of the designs were as good as this from what I've seen. But 93 Flair, my favorite base set of the 90s. So that is my entry for the Essential Credentials contest. My next contest, not my contest, but my next contest response is for Yankees cards. He wants to see your top 10 cards from either a team or a player. Now, I collect a lot of players. I'm a Hall of Fame collector, so If you're in the Hall of Fame, I'll keep those cards whenever I pull them. But I am a Braves fan, so I figured we'll do the Braves. Because the Braves have quite a few Hall of Famers as well. So let's just go ahead and get started with that. Now, I'm not a high-end collector, so you're not going to see a lot of high-end vintage here or graded cards or boomers. Just stuff that I really enjoy. So this is a 1964 Eddie Matthews. Here's the back of it. It's not in terrible shape, but it's not in the greatest shape either. It's not a 9 or anything. It's got some streaking on it. You know, you can see some scratching on the surface and all that. But this is the oldest Braves card I own. It's a 1964 Topps Eddie Matthews. My next card comes from the overproduction era, and it's one of my favorite Braves cards of all time. Yep, that is the... I didn't even notice there was a couple print marks on this, but it don't bother me. This John Smoltz error card. The reason I love this error card so much is, like, especially back in the 80s and early 90s, you really had a problem with quality control. You would have wrong photos on cards all the time in those sets. All you gotta do is go back and look, and you'll see so many cards with players that it's not their picture on the card. Mainly because, like, a lot of the people at these quality control departments really didn't know what the players look like, and they were just going off, you know, however their organization of photos and their layout team and all that. So you see quite a few errors of wrong people on cards. What I love about this one is you have a card, John Smoltz for a Hall of Famer, and you mistakenly put the wrong young pitcher on the card. But you mistakenly put another future Hall of Famer on the card in Tom Glavine. That's why I love this card so much. It's not a valuable card by any means. You can pick those up all day for pennies. Alright, my third card. Very, very well-known card. Chipper Jones. This one has a little stain up here in the corner. But 1991 draft pick Chipper Jones. Sure, everybody has seen this card before. And this was a card all the kids wanted, especially, you know, here in Georgia. They wanted this Chipper Jones card to be pulled out of a pack. See, Chipper Jones was supposed to be the savior. You know, like, when he got to Atlanta, he was supposed to turn around the Braves. The Braves were really bad in the 80s. But I never watched baseball in the 80s, so. But the Braves were really bad in the 80s. I came during the 90s, 91 season, the magical season. And they were all talking about how this kid was going to be the savior of the Braves. Was going to turn around and contender. But the Braves went and did it early. So they did it before Chipper got there. But this card just reminds me so much of my youth. Because everybody, all the kids wanted this card. Alright, so we're going to jump way ahead to 2000s. It's 2009 Upper Deck Masterpieces. I absolutely love this set. All the cards have that canvas feel. And this is just a great Chipper Jones card. This card to me is a piece of art. Just a beautiful card. It's not photorealistic. It's not an actual photo, but it's a beautiful card. Whoever did the artwork on these Upper Deck Masterpieces, one of the underrated sets you rarely hear anybody talk about. Upper Deck Masterpieces. Alright, my next two are actually modern cards, modern Stadium Club cards. Now, one thing Stadium Club is known for is their wonderful photography. So, here's a 2018 Stadium Club of Greg Maddux. I absolutely love this picture. Greg Maddux looking all serious on the mound. This dude right here, he's, you know, if you're in the batter's box and he's staring you down like that, you're not intimidated because the dude's not going to throw 98, 99. He's only going to throw like 90. And that's as hard as he's going to throw. But he's still going to carve you up. And that's what the look on his face is. He's in your head already by the time you step into that batter's box. Because you don't know exactly what's coming. And if you think you know what's coming, he's going to do the opposite. That's why he was called the Professor. Probably my favorite pitcher of all time, Greg Maddux. Alright, this Stadium Club was from 2019 Stadium Club. Absolutely love this picture of Hank Aaron. Great picture of young Hank Aaron. This was another guy. He looks unassuming. Looks like a really nice guy. A cool guy to hang out with, have a beer with. But you knew when he got into the batter's box, those pitchers were just shaking. Because this guy could hit them to all fields. Not that I ever saw him play, but just from what I've read about Hank Aaron was that, you know, he wasn't a pull hitter. He was just a hitter. And had the power to hit it out of the park. You know, there's some that speculate that Hank Aaron could actually hit way more home runs if he'd just focused on pulling the ball, and instead of trying to be an all-around hitter. That's how good Hank Aaron was. You know, Hank Aaron didn't get 100% of the vote either. So all the people that are up in arms about Derek Jeter, Hank Aaron didn't even get 100% of the vote. My next one is a 2011 opening day Freddie Freeman rookie. This is my only Freeman rookie I got, and it's from opening day, so it's not the flagship set. But Freddie Freeman is now the anchor piece of the Braves. He's definitely the heart and soul of the team. Yeah, you got, you know, young players like Albies and Acuna, who are great players in their own right, but this is the heart and soul of the team. He's been there since 2011, I think. Yeah, 2011. And is probably one of those guys that's going to end up being a career Brave. At least I hope he does. All right, up next we have a 2010 All-Star Game jersey from Brian McCann. Brian McCann's one of those fan favorites for the Braves. Didn't put together a Hall of Fame career, but, you know, for many years he was probably one of the best offensive catchers in the league. You know, was also the heart and soul for the Braves for quite a few years before he hit free agency and went on to greener pastures, better money, and an actual championship with the Astros. But nobody wants to hear me talk about the Astros. So, but Brian McCann was actually part of the 2005 Baby Braves. If you're not a Braves fan, you probably don't recognize the 2005 Baby Braves. But that was a year that had a multitude of rookies on the team. Nobody gave them a chance to win the division. Like, it was supposed to... 2004 was going to be the last year they won their, you know, their division title. It was going to end at 13. But in 2005, you had this group of rookies, which included Brian McCann, Jeff Francoeur, Ryan Langerhans, Kelly Johnson, Kyle Davies. I'm sure there's quite a few I'm missing. Blaine Boyer. A bunch of these rookies came up and just balled out, and the Braves squeaked the Phillies in the National League East, winning division by 2 games, I think it was. But Brian McCann's always got a place in Atlanta. He's always going to be a fan favorite there. All right, up next is the statistical standouts from, what year is this? Rookie and Stars from, I have no clue what year this is. 2002. 2002 Leaf Rookies and Stars. Andrew Jones, probably the best defensive center fielder I've ever seen with my own eyes. And, you know, that's a arguable statement. There's a lot of debate that could go in that. But this dude was just an absolute... Nothing got by him in the outfield. And he didn't make, like, so many spectacular plays. His biggest strength was he would know where to be all the time. And, like, when you think about positioning and managers and all that, Andrew Jones would always have that first step. Like, he would run into the gap, and, like, if they had StatCast back then, it would have been amazing to see, you know, what his defensive metrics would have been. Because he just always seemed to be in the right place. And, like, he made it look so smooth out there. He really didn't have to make all the super highlight plays, diving plays. He'd make those too, but he made a lot of tough gappers look like routine flyouts. Andrew Jones, one of my favorite Braves. And the last one is this MLB debut medallion from 2016. This card's heavy. It's got some weight to it. I know this isn't a Manu patch or a Manu relic, but it's Tom Glavine, and this card like actually feels important because I don't know if you could hear that because it weighs so much. But it's really cool, you know. It almost looks like an actual real coin in there. I don't know if they made it out of, you know, aluminum or what. but it's not light like aluminum. It's got some heft to it. But August 17th, 1987, Tom Glavine. One thing about pitchers, guys, is sometimes they take a few years to really get going in the league. You can see 87, he made his debut. Tom Glavine really didn't have a really good season until 1991. That was when he blew up on the scene. So a lot of pitchers have a few years that they, kind of struggle or middle a little bit, and they're not consistent. So, that's probably why the prices for like rookie pitchers and stuff don't ever go anywhere. Is because they don't have that immediate impact usually. Sure, you do have some pitchers that burst on the scene, have great years, and as a rookie year, and Walker Buehler is a prime example of that. Mike Soroka, although not his rookie year, but his second year, I guess he was still considered a rookie. I'm not sure. But yeah, so sometimes pitchers take a few years. So if you got some of those Bowman prospect cards and they're pitchers, and you're like, oh, they're not worth anything. They've already been in the league 2 years, and nothing's happening. You never know with those guys. So hold on to your pitchers cards. You never know what they're going to turn out to be. But those are my contest responses. Let's see. I've been going 20 minutes again. I am a rambling fool. I apologize for these long videos. I get to talking about cards, and man, I do not know when to shut up. I could do the quick hitters fast. But that's because I know that when I'm done ripping the packs, I'm in the video, man. So I'm telling myself right now, in the video. Those were my contest entries for Yankees cards and the Essential Credentials podcast. I'll put a link to both of their contests in the description below, and I will get out of here. Remember, you can only control 2 things: it's your thoughts and your actions. Stay positive, keep ripping them packs, and I will catch you all later. Peace.